So, I'm here with Ella Ulrich to discuss beauty as it relates to theater. Ella, or Cinderella as I like to call her, is a dear friend of mine, and this past fall we were performing together in the Scarlet Pimpernel with Logos Theater in Greenville, South Carolina. Um, Ella, would you like to say a few words about yourself?
Yes, well, I'm Ella and I am Cinderella. That is the wonderful nickname that you've given me, and I love it so much. Um, yeah, I've been with the theater for about a year and a half. It feels like it's been way longer, but it's really just been a short amount of time. But um, it's just been such a blessing to me to be able to be with this theater and meet amazing people. But yeah,
Yay! Oh my goodness. I remember like the first time I walked in and saw you like on the stage with a broom and your name was Ella and I was like, you literally are Cinderella. And I thought that was so funny and
yeah.
it's just stuck ever since.
Yes, that yes. I think I had a broom in my hand most of the run for that show.
Oh my goodness. Iconic. Iconic for sure. Ella, just to kind of get us started, how has theater stretched you personally as an artist? And maybe what's something that you've learned from
Yeah,
performing in the theater?
yeah. So I think I've definitely not only been stretched like as an artist, but like as a person. I was like a really shy person. Like I didn't like to talk to people a whole lot. But going to the theater and like meeting people and doing things that were out of my comfort zone really helped me like um to be more outgoing and to because I am a very like outgoing person at heart but I just didn't show that part of me a whole lot to a lot of people, but through the theater like I became more confident and I realized that like I don't have to act a certain way to make
Mm.
other people happy, if that makes any sense.
You don't have to act a certain way, but yet you are acting.
Yes, yeah, it's kind of funny, but I think I didn't have to act. I could be myself, and it's becoming easier for me to do that and to just walk up to people and talk to them, which terrified me years ago. And I've definitely like become more of an extrovert. I think I've been stretched so much to do things that I wasn't be originally comfortable doing that I can, you know, be myself and be okay with. If people don't like me, then like that's their problem and I'm not going to be friends with everybody, you know? But it's really stretched me to be who God made me to be, you know, to not be ashamed of my personality because I'm a little outgoing. I can be a little bouncy sometimes. Um, so I think that's also like as an artist, I mean, I've learned so much because I hadn't done any acting until the summer of 2022. It was my first ever thing. I did a summer camp. It was the Lions of Trondheim, and through through that play and the week that we had to do it, I just I learned so much about I was in the costume crew and I learned about just the costumes and how that can help make the play look beautiful. Um,
Hmm.
and I think the whole thing just made my creativity just kind of skyrocket and my
Hmm.
desire to use that creativity for the stage or for just to bring glory to God, like I think theater has just stretched that and grown my desire to share my creativity to glorify God.
That's so beautiful. And also, I think it's really cool that you do use theater to glorify God. Give me an example of one that in your mind, a performance for you that was the easiest to feel like you were glorifying the
Yeah.
Lord in. What show is that
Mhm.
and why was it like that?
It's kind of funny. I think it would be Pilgrim's Progress.
Really?
I was cast as a Vanity Fair hawker. So I was, it's kind of funny. It's like the opposite of glorifying God, but you're still um, so we were in Vanity Fair, and our director, Miss Katie, told us to laugh, but have like this dead look in your eye. Like just look, it's like
Mm,
dead laughter, like
mm,
it's not genuine. It's like this laughter and you just feel nasty and you like put so much tension in your body to like act this way. And it was really hard to do. It was exhausting, like the strain that you put on yourself to make that feel so horrible. It was a lot, but in the end, it it helped, like Christian and Faithful, their part of like begging us to listen to them because we were so like horrible to them. It made that story shine through, and it helped people, I think, to see that they, where they are in life, and if there's someone like trying to help them, like, and they're like, oh no, it was just, I don't know, it was so horrible. Like the
yeah.
scene was just horrible, but it really just made the brightness of the Lord and like the gospel shine through so much better because it was so nasty and horrible and scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a funny answer, but I think that is, yeah.
Well, that's really something I actually wanted to talk to you about is because
Mhm.
um as I talk about the purpose of beauty, I also want to talk about the purpose of ugliness.
Mhm.
And I think that, some people would say, well, you can't really have beauty without ugliness, and that is absolutely
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's the only purpose for ugliness. I think
Mhm.
it also has a real purpose in emphasizing things and,
Yeah.
drawing attention to truths that are a part of life. Like sin is
Mhm.
a part of life, and that
Yeah.
grotesque nature of the character that you were portraying literally portrayed a truth about life that is sad and is
Mhm.
not something we want or enjoy, but is absolutely true and something that we need to recognize and learn from.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the pursuit of beauty as it relates to the theater and how we see ugliness in the world, as well as a lot of beauty. And
Yeah.
so you get to exhibit both of those things on stage, but tell me more about your experience with that. What have you seen or what have you learned?
Yeah. I think because theater is, you're right there watching it, and it's almost like you're there in that world. I remember when I was like in elementary school, we went to see Prince Caspian.
Mm.
And we were sitting on the floor. I think I was on the aisle, the center aisle seat. And because they used the aisles so much, it felt
Mhm.
like you were there with the characters. And I remember Aslan just walked right past me, and he was so massive and beautiful, and it was just amazing. And it just, I think there's a way that theater can bring something to life that like a movie just can't, because you're there and you're looking at it, and it's so close and so beautiful, and there's not that fourth wall of the screen. The actors are like looking out, looking at what they're talking about, in the distance, and it feels like, oh, if I turn around, am I going to see it?
Mm.
There's just something so special that the stage can bring the beauty of the world, even if it may not be as realistic or, you know, as real as like a movie set, or like if it's filmed outside or something. I think movies do play an important part in, you know, spreading the word. If they're, showing God's glory through
Right.
movies is definitely like important. But there's just something about the theater and being there and being surrounded by, um, like the sound, the lights, just everything feels so real and present, which I think just brings a whole new look on the
Yeah.
beauty that God has created.
It feels like it's so up close and personal that you're
Hmm.
just
Yeah.
confronted with the honest truth of it that you can't
Yeah.
necessarily escape it. Like you're sitting in these seats and you can't leave. I mean, you could, but
Hmm.
that would be really rude. So please
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
But oh man, so they came down like through the aisles and were right up
Yes.
close to you. And
Yeah, it was like I could just like reach out and touch it and be right there, in the moment. It was amazing. I have not forgotten that moment. I may forget like a scene from a movie, but that was just so special and so different.
And
So
that was the
in
moment
like the
that
best possible way.
Aslan came in.
Yeah, he came off of the stage and was walking to the back of the
Oh,
auditorium, and it was amazing.
oh my goodness, I can picture it. Man, it
Yeah.
sounds beautiful. So, obviously Aslan is a Christ figure. Um, and in your experience with that, do you think, I'm trying to think how to phrase this. Um, like obviously art is powerful.
Mhm.
And I know some pastors who are Christians who would say that they don't read fiction, and
Mhm.
others that would say, "Oh, but fiction is so rich and it makes your understanding of the gospel even more rich and saturated and deep, and it gives it a new depth." And so in a
Mhm.
C.S. Lewis story like this one, which remind me which one it is. Is it Prince
It was Prince Caspian, yeah.
Caspian? Prince
I
Caspian.
think
Okay.
so.
So in a story that's rich with the truths of the gospel and also um a very well written story. C.S. Lewis is recognized as a fabulous author, whether or not you are a Christian. Um, but how do you think that impacted your view of the gospel?
It's a really good question. Um, I think, and I was in elementary school when I saw this play, so it was a
Yeah.
long time ago, but
Yeah.
I think the way Aslan is portrayed, like the puppet of Aslan, like his eyes are just so kind. And that may not make a lot of sense because he's a puppet, but there's so much depth to that. I feel like it just kind of gave like a visual understanding of the Lord in a way, if that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
just and like lions are like they can be scary and rough, but they can also be like tenderhearted and kind, and that's what you see like in the plays. So I think it was just a really good visual thing for me to see when I was younger, to see that he's mighty but he's kind. I think that was a really big takeaway that I had when I was like in elementary school.
That is really powerful.
Yeah.
Man, thanks for sharing that. I like got the chills. Oh my gosh. Oh man. That I just can't imagine like seeing Aslan come down the aisle as a child and I would just be awestruck.
It
Um
was amazing.
but okay, so art is powerful and the theater is powerful and it has a clear purpose in your life. I mean, it brings you joy, and it allows you to reveal, like you said, a part of you that is you, that
Mhm.
you feel like more confident to be who you are because of this art form. Um, how did you first come to do the theater? What was your first experience with the theater, and what made you stay?
Yeah, so I saw The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, the first run of it in elementary school, and then I saw Prince Caspian, and I was like, I want to do that. Like, I want to do that when I'm older. Um, but I kind of put that on the back burner for a while, and then when I was around 10 or 11 years old, I had this dream where I was in a Logos production of Robin Hood. And yeah, I just loved the story of Robin Hood. It was like my childhood. I played it all the time with my sister, my friends. Like it was a huge part of my childhood. So I had this dream that I was in this production of it. And when I woke up, I prayed and I was like, Lord, is that what you want me to do? Do you want me to be an actress? Like to and like Robin Hood, it's not a Christian story, but there's so much good truth in it, and you can do so much
Right,
with those
yeah.
kinds of stories. And I was like, is this what I'm supposed to do? And I just kept praying, and I felt like it was the Lord was saying yes, like not now, but yes. So I didn't tell anyone about it because I was like, okay, I don't know, like, is this actually what I'm supposed to do? I don't know. So I'm just gonna kind of keep it to myself. And then a while later, Um, I told my parents, and they were like, maybe like later down the road because it just wasn't the right timing. So then in 2022, I remembered that the Logos Theater had a summer camp because I had researched other theaters and there was like nothing just felt like it fit right. And nobody's having auditions because of COVID. And I was like, of course, like the
Of
time that
course.
I'm ready to do theater, there's like nobody available. So I sign up for the camp with a couple of friends and I go in and I just fell in love with it. Like it was like this light just came within me and I was just I don't know, I can't explain it. It was amazing. And so then I signed up for the co-op and I auditioned for Silent Star and Pilgrim's Progress, and then later Kingdom's Dawn. And just the way that people welcomed me and were so kind, even though I had never done anything before with the theater, they were so kind and they just loved the Lord so much. And I was just like, this is my home. This is where I'm supposed to be.
Hmm.
So it's just been amazing.
That's like incredibly powerful. Thank you for sharing that, Ella. Oh my goodness. So you literally had a dream about it.
Yes.
Um, and man, okay, that's really cool. I also,
Yeah.
what you were talking about when you came in and you just were enveloped in a wonderful community. That is exactly what I felt when I came, and you were
Yeah.
a big part of that. So thank you for becoming a part of that welcoming group that you first saw when you were entering the theater. I am always scared to call like an arts company like a safe haven because bad things can always happen. It's the
Yeah.
arts. You're
Yeah.
always scared of what might happen or what might go wrong. But also,
Yeah.
like, let's just take a minute to thank the Lord for what he has done through this theater because
Amen.
wow, like I look back and I've only been with Logos for what, 3, 4 months. Um,
Yeah.
but just
Yeah.
my experience and what I learned was incredible.
Hmm.
Is there anything else that just comes to your mind when you think about Logos and things that you've learned from them or learned because of it?
Yeah. A big thing that I learned like last year, I think. Yeah. Well, in 2022 to 2023, that school year, um, was really about trusting the Lord. My sister had just graduated and went to college, and I was kind of like, okay, I don't know what to do now. I was on an archery team, and I wasn't sure if I should continue with that or pursue theater, but I was like, I don't want to drop the archery team, and if I don't get a part, then I'm just gonna like, I'm not gonna have anything going on, and I'm just gonna be sitting at home.
Wow. Yeah,
So,
I feel that.
so yeah, so I just prayed a whole lot, and I was like, Lord, I don't know where I'm supposed to go or what I'm supposed to do. Like, can you just show me? So, I decided not to do archery, even though I loved it so much. Um, and then I auditioned for Silent Star and Pilgrim's Progress, and then I ended up getting parts. And then it was just the experience made me trust the Lord so much more. And by trusting Him, I learned to be able to trust like the whole cast. You know, you need to be able to trust your cast if something's going to go wrong, you know that they're going to help you like fix whatever went
Right.
wrong. So I think that's a huge thing that I learned from going to the theater, um, is just trusting the big thing.
That is really cool. And it's such like a unique place where you're all together and you have to work
Yeah,
together.
yeah,
And it's also a unique place where you have to trust God. I mean, as any
exactly.
artist, it's just a different world than having a 9 to 5 job. And
Yeah,
I love it. You love it or you wouldn't be
yeah,
doing it. But it
yeah,
also, like you said, the Lord provides and you have to
yeah,
trust him. You have to give
yeah,
it with open hands and say, Lord,
yeah,
this is yours. Take it or give it.
yeah,
It is your will.
yeah, yes.
Man,
Lots of leaps of faith that felt like they were in the dark, but they, you know, he had he had it all worked out. So
He always does.
thankful, yes. He does.
Well, another thing I wanted to talk to you about is that you also love making coffee and baking.
Yes.
And when we were together
Yeah,
performing in Greenville, you made this absolutely delicious orange coffee that blew my mind. And these dairy and gluten-free cookies that were chocolate chip cookies with almond or something.
almond
And
flour, yeah.
they were
Yeah.
so good, and I have never forgotten them still. But you have so many restraints on your diet, yet you take these limits and just live with them beautifully and joyfully. And so I was wondering if you could tell me and tell us, maybe there's someone on here listening who has dietary restraints and feels burdened by that, or someone who has maybe no restraints and feels so much freedom with their life that they don't know what they're doing. Tell me about
Yeah.
your journey with this and how these constraints on your diet have maybe fed your creativity in your relationship with food.
Yes. So I haven't always been like gluten and dairy free. I used to be able to
Mm,
eat whatever.
yeah.
But a few years ago, I realized that when I would have it, I just like my stomach would hurt and it would just, I wouldn't feel good after eating it. And I was like, I think I need to cut this stuff out. So I like cut it off, like off and on, for a while. And then the more I ate it, the worse I felt. So I decided to just cut it completely. And when I did that, I felt so much better. I had so much more energy. And I it's definitely not the easiest thing. Because sometimes you just want like a piece of bread or a piece of pizza, but you can't have it.
And especially for
Um,
you, since you're on the go all the time.
yeah,
Yeah.
lots of packed salads. Um, but I love lettuce, so
Good.
um, um, so when I switched over to not eating all that stuff, it definitely took a lot of like determination not to have that stuff, even when I was offered it and I wanted it. But and then over the years, it's definitely gotten easier to just like make my own food or whatever. Like I don't mind doing that at all because I love baking, I love cooking. I love strong flavors. But so I think another thing that's really inspiring me now
Hmm.
is that I want to be able to help other people who maybe were able to eat that stuff like earlier in life, but now they
Yeah,
can't. So I want to help them to know where to go, a direction to take
absolutely. Yeah.
when switching over or just eating healthy or whatever it is. Because it's definitely not the easiest thing to do.
No, it's
But
not.
but if you have like a direction to go and recipes to make like cookies, um, then it's definitely easier. And I want to help people as much as I can um, to be able to make that switch.
Yeah. That is so beautiful. Thank you for doing that. It really encouraged me. I actually
Oh,
am gluten-free, dairy-free right now. And one of the reasons that I had the determination to actually do that was because of you. So thank you again.
oh,
Um, but I just think you were so creative in the ways that you would make like those almond cookies. Like those couldn't have been just something easy to make. You had to have thought through them carefully and come up with excuses to, use almond something instead of flour something or almond milk in your coffee. How do you get motivated to find new things like that? Or what's kind of your process when you have a project you want to make?
well, usually I try to find a recipe that I can either use fully or base something off of it. Because sometimes it'll call for milk, and I'll be like, okay, almond milk or something like that, or oat milk. Um, but for me, I like to have strong flavors in my things, like the orange coffee. Like
Yes,
I um
that was so
I
creative.
love. Well, I had it at another coffee shop, and I was like, I want to make that. and I had some orange essential oils, and I was like, that could work. So I tried it, and I made a few cups to get the recipe right. There were some good ones and some special ones, we could say.
Doing some
um,
chemistry over here, mixing all the
yeah, little chemistry. um, yeah, so just a lot of practicing, I think, to get the flavors and the textures of whatever I'm baking right,
Yeah.
because a lot of gluten-free things can go very wrong. I've had some things just not turn out right. So you just like keep trying, keep twerking them, tweaking them, and like trying to make it better, um, to get it to where you want it to be. So
I love
yeah,
that. I love that. That's so encouraging. Yeah, thanks for sharing that.
yeah, of
And good
course.
luck. Always make some new things. That's really
Yes.
awesome. Um, and and finally, you also love photography. When did you start taking photographs?
um, I'm honestly not sure. It probably around 2019, 2020 is when I started to take more pictures.
Okay, so COVID year. Tell
Um,
me about
Pretty
that.
much. Well, I think it started, I got a little, just like a little camera, um, when I went to Australia with my family in 2018, I believe.
Mm.
And I just started like taking pictures of pretty plants and things like that and little birds or whatever. And I think that kind of sparked it a little bit. Um, and then in 2020, I'm just sitting at home, so I like just take pictures of random, I don't even know. Um, and I just kind of play with editing and changing the brightness and the sharpness of the photos and things like that. So that was just kind
Yeah.
of something that I played around with a lot during quarantine.
That is so cool. You spent your quarantine well. And and for you personally, so I think all photographers have something different that maybe tends to draw their unique eye. But what is
Mhm.
it? Can you tell with your own photography, like what types of things seem to draw your attention when you practice the art?
Yeah, I think I love sky pictures,
Mm.
sunsets, things like that. But I think um, like the main thing that I like to capture is like the small detailed things that a lot of people would miss, like the cracks in the pavement or the vines and the veins in a leaf, things like that,
Oh,
um, that just get really close to the thing that I'm taking a picture of, and that give it its personality or um, its uniqueness. And also like broken buildings, like old buildings that are like somebody's gonna be like, oh, they should tear that down. I think
yeah.
there's just something so beautiful about things that are old and that seem like they're crumbling, but they're just there's something so beautiful about that to me.
That is
Um,
so inspiring because
yeah,
okay, fun story. Like I was looking through your photography and I was like, okay, she does all these like extreme close-ups and they are so cool. And it has me looking at things in a different way. Like you were
yeah,
saying, like unexpected moments of beauty that you found or
hmm,
something broken that you saw beauty in. I
yeah,
think that is really beautiful. And it was encouraging when I will see you post something on your Instagram account.
hmm,
Um, and then it makes me turn and look at the world differently because I see something that maybe I hadn't considered as beautiful before,
yeah,
but then it encourages me to see the world in a different way. Does it
yeah.
also encourage you to see the world in a different way as you look to take pictures or as you go around looking for moments of unexpected beauty?
Yes, for sure. I took this picture of the road that I like posted yesterday. And I noticed like the crack in the gravel or in the pavement. And the picture has the sunset in the background, but you can't see that. It's just focused on what's right in front of you. And you can see like every bump in the pavement and you can just see everything in it. I feel like it just reminds me to just slow down if I'm like going through life quickly, trying to get everything done, rushing around doing everything. I think it's like it's so peaceful to me to just look at the picture and just slow down and look at the little things and not to, I mean, I've driven out of on that road so many times that I never
Yeah.
noticed that crack, you know. But if you get down and you look closely and you slow down, then you start to see the cracks and you notice way more than you knew that you could.
Yeah. Oh, thanks. That's really cool. I'm gonna have to be like looking around for things like that because it
Yeah.
really does change your mindset when you start looking for beauty. I know because I
Hmm.
did this project like senior year where I had to like find moments of unexpected beauty and it changed the way that I
Yeah.
see the world. And like you were saying,
Yeah.
you start to notice things like in the
Yeah.
moment, like small things you would never have noticed before.
Hmm.
Anyway, I hope that's inspiring and encouraging to anyone listening because it encouraged me and obviously has encouraged you too, or you wouldn't be taking these pictures.
Yes.
Um, so yeah, thanks for sharing that.
Oh, yeah, of
I
course.
okay, I know we're running out of time, but I just have to ask, um, do you have any advice for someone who's listening? Um, just any personal advice that you would like to share with us, and maybe a Bible verse that you found encouraging or a hymn that you found encouraging in the past week.
Yeah, I think the main thing is just trust the Lord with everything. Um, and don't try to figure out your whole future right away. You know, just take it one step at a time and continue to pray and trust that the Lord is going to show you, because He will show you where you need to be. Um,
Amen to that.
yes. And a verse, and I like say this verse in my head before pretty much every show. And it's I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And it's in Philippians. I think it's 4:13, I think.
Yeah,
Um,
Philippians 4:13.
yes, yeah. And that verse is just so encouraging to me, and it helps me remember that when I'm struggling or when I'm exhausted or I don't feel like I have the energy to do another show, that I can do all things through Christ. And the end, because each show, you know, you're planting seeds in people and you don't know if they're gonna, you know, bloom or if they're gonna come to Christ or not, but you're planting those seeds.
Hmm.
When you know that you can do that through Christ, it's so encouraging, and He'll give you the strength to continue and finish well, and for the audience's sake and for your cast's sake, because um, if you're all working hard and working under the Lord and Him like helping you to showing you like where to go, what to, you know, does that make sense?
How
I
encouraging it is that Christ is the one who
yeah.
strengthens you. Like it doesn't have to
Yes,
be your own power.
exactly. Yeah.
You're
But that
performing, but the
yes,
Lord works through you.
exactly. Yeah. So I
And
think that
sorry.
verse and trust is the two main things that
Yeah.
I would say.
And what do you say at the end of shows? If you say that
Uh,
before shows.
yes, I always thank the Lord. Um, and for Pimpernel, you know, we would always sing either "To God Be the Glory" or the blessing song, and
Yeah.
those things just bringing it back to God, saying and thanking Him for another great show. We'd always end in prayer. Um, so just praising the Lord that we made it through, and thanking Him for His grace and protection during the shows.
It truly, truly was only in his strength that we
Yes,
did those.
for sure.
And I remember
Yeah.
some moments when you had really hard nights or
Hmm.
someone would be sick and the Lord would bring us through, but we had
Yeah.
to rely on him. And I think that
Yeah.
glorified him.
Yeah, for sure.
But that verse that you said, I can do how many things through Christ who strengthens me?
All things. Yeah.
My dance teacher used to say that, and I would crack up, but I've not forgotten it.
Yeah.
Anyway. Oh, well, thank you so much, Ella.
Thank you.
Um, I am just so grateful for you and for your time. And I hope you have a lovely rest of your day.
Thank you.
And to anyone who's listening, goodbye, so long, farewell.